Hola fool, it's your friendly neighborhood Mexican Spider-Man Papi Diego. And today guys, we'll be looking at the best heroes for you to play in Marvel Rivals Season 1 according to their win percentages and pick rates. There's a lot of new heroes that completely bumped up from the bottom of the barrel last season to the top of the food chain in this season, and we're gonna look at least 10 of them. The number one on the list, who is the person who got absolutely giga buffed this season, is Storm at a whopping 56% win rate. You will be winning over half of your games if you were to play Storm every single game. The Marvel Rivals devs absolutely giga buffed her. They gave her faster firing speed, more damage per shot, and she has way more survivability in her ultimate. And if you have played at least a lick of rank today, you have ran into her over and over and over again. And her ultimate is like an instant kill, basically. Like if you get caught in that thing, you're pretty much cooked. And she has a significantly high ban rate at 44%. So if you're playing her at diamond and above, you will not be seeing her very much. That's actually why her pick rate is only at 17%. But hey man, if you're anywhere underneath diamond, give her a try. Even if you're not good at her, I've seen people who have barely played her at all completely dominate with her as well. She's a great mix of a support, also being a duelist, and when you're in solo queue and she's flying around, people just don't shoot at her. It's very unfortunate, especially when you team her up with Thor. That team up ability is insane, so make sure you go ahead and try her out. The next one we're gonna go for though is Racoon at the second most highest win rate in the entire game. Racoon was a solid pick last season, and this season now he is absolutely, I'm still a little bit like back and forth with it. I don't think he's an absolute like insane pick for the game, but his win percentage is telling me otherwise. For an amazing win rate like that, he's a very easy pickup for anybody. I just feel like he's just missing like an insane ultimate. But if you're comparing him to Mantis or Luna, it's just, I feel like he just doesn't compare to them. But with his insanely small hitbox and basically just never able to die because of his movement, and his healing got buffed this season, so he is a great pick, especially if you're in a 3-person support comp. If you're running Luna, Snow, Mantis, and a Racoon, that is like a recipe for just disaster against the enemy team. And his respawn beacon, when he puts it down, is absolutely annoying. It makes every fight a 7v6. Overall, even though I don't see Rocket as like an SS tier, he's still S tier at the same time. It's weird. His ban rate is literally less than 1% at 0.76%. So you can play this hero in the higher ranks as much as you want. Now the next hero in the third spot is a duelist, and that is Magik. With other heroes like Black Panther, Spider-Man, Psylocke all getting nerfs this season, Magik has seen her way to the second spot of the duelist category as one of the best heroes in the game. Magik is one of those heroes that's a little bit difficult to play at first, but once you get a couple matches in, once you get the hang of her, you realize her abilities are all centered around timing. Once you get those Magiks that never die in your backline and they're constantly harassing your supports, and it doesn't seem that you can kill her, and it's only because her timing is correctly and her ability usage is correctly. So Magik is one of those heroes you definitely want to have in your hero pool. And the fourth person on this list is Mantis at 52% win rate. I mean, Mantis is a huge pick for anybody to pick up. If you're not playing Mantis this season, you're kind of throwing your games, because she can do everything from sleeping people to doing damage from the backline to winning team fights with her ultimate. Mantis is the Ana from Overwatch within Marvel Rivals. She can do everything for your team, and she's one of those heroes with a very high skill ceiling. You can go from bronze to GM easily with this hero if you master her. She's one of those heroes, if your DPSs or tanks are lacking, you can definitely carry these games and get MVP all the time. And her ban rate is at 1% in the higher ranks, so you can play her as long as you want in the higher ranks. And Mantis has a whopping 112,000 matches played, which is pretty damn high up there. Now the number one tank in the entire game at the 5th spot on this list is Penni Parker at 52% win rate. Penni Parker is kind of like in a Racoon situation where Racoon isn't the best support in the game, but he has the highest win rate and also the highest pick rate, but she doesn't give that much value compared to Thor, Doctor Strange, but her ban rate is at a very low 0.42%, so you can play her every single game. And she's kind of like one of those situational picks where there's certain areas of the map, maybe you want to use her on the first point and then get off of her on the second point, because certain points on the map are just very chokehold heavy. Overall, overall, she's still a great pick and a very good secondary tank for your team. And talking about secondary tanks, we have Thor at the 6th spot on the list at 51% win rate. Thor was one of the sleeper picks of last season. He wasn't considered one of the best tanks in the game, but now he's skyrocketed to the 2nd spot on this list after his survivability buffs and his ultimate buffs. He has been seen as one of the greatest solo carry tanks in the entire game. He's one of those heroes that's like a DPS in disguise. He can do so much output damage with him, but he still suffers from being an off tank, so you would need a secondary tank to help you out in these situations. Not that it's impossible to be a solo tank on Thor, it's just that you'll have a much easier time if you're an off tank as Thor. And his ban percentage is less than 1% as well, 0.27, and his matches hitting the 6-figure mark at 101,000. Speaking of secondary tanks, we have another tank that recently got buffs this season, and that is Captain America on the next spot at a 51% win rate. I mean, he is a survival based machine. He just doesn't die. If you play him properly, and you can just bounce around the map and harass the backline without anybody killing you, because it's hard to land shots on him when he's just bouncing around all over the place. He has a very low pick rate of 8%. I feel like Captain America has so many abilities that he really isn't worth like trying to play, in my opinion. It seems like Penni Parker, Thor, and even Doctor Strange are the best tanks for anybody to choose, but go ahead and give him a shot. But our next person we're going to talk about is Mr. Fantastic, the newest duelist in the entire game, or if you even want to call him a duelist. He is at 51% win rate. He is one of those heroes where if you have like a Thor and then you also have a Mr. Fantastic, they kind of work very well together. Like Mr. Fantastic kind of acts as that extra tank for your team that Thor can play off of. And I mean, there's times where I just have to completely ignore Mr. Fantastic because he's just impossible to kill sometimes. And that's kind of what he is. He's kind of a distraction for the enemy team to just shoot at and take damage from, which is essentially a role of a tank. So Mr. Fantastic is in this middle ground of being a duelist and a tank, but I have never seen Mr. Fantastic completely pop off in ranked games yet, getting 30 to 40 kills in games. I haven't seen that. And we have Loki at the 9th spot at 50%. Loki is absolutely insane this season. I have been seeing him more often and often, and it's largely due to his ultimate ability, being able to copy any ultimate in the game. You can essentially have 2 Luna Snow ults, which is absolutely annoying. He's definitely a skillful hero. You can't just pick him up randomly and expect to do good on him. It definitely takes a little bit of time to get used to his abilities, but once you get used to him and you master him, he's definitely a big pick for anybody who's looking to rank up. And his ban rate is at 1%, so no one's banning him in the higher elos. And at the 10th spot, we're going to be looking at Hulk. The Hulk combo with Iron Man is still busted. They haven't touched it at all. Hulk is at 50% win rate right now. Hulk is just one of those heroes where he would be seeing more pick rate time, but he's just really used for that Iron Man buff. If you play Hulk without the team up, it's just kind of like you can play other heroes that do the same job a lot easier. Not that you can't climb with Hulk, but he's just one of those heroes where you're just there for the team up. But that concludes the top 10 heroes in the entire game. Let me know what you guys think about all of these heroes. Who did you not expect and who did you expect on this tier list? And if you're looking at 6 reasons why you are losing your ranked games in Marvel Rivals, make sure you click onto this video linked in the description below. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!